Because, like, I saw that Arctic Reflections guy's video, and he was basically mocking us.
Yes, I did, Sleeping Warrior, and I will do it again, because both you and Flatzoid are fools.
Hang on, just before we do, can we just touch on what we spoke about yesterday or the last show?
Quickly do.
Because, like, I saw that Arctic Reflections guy's video, and he was basically mocking us for the my understanding of...
Oh, look at Flatzoid. He thinks I was the stupid one in this. But wait and see who is the stupid one.
My understanding of how that picture, the Blackpool Swan picture was taken, was that my understanding is that he got out of his car, pointed it, clicked it, and got back in. My understanding was that it was never a stacked image.
And Sleeping Warriors is correct. This is the page that Flatzoid looked on during that live. And here you see the text. It was one exposure.
And my understanding, when we were talking about how stacked images were created, we were not referencing that image. Is that correct, or was that a stacked image?
No. When I saw on Twitter, he said it was stacked images. That's how I got the HDR.
And I have asked Flatzoid for that information, that tweet, but he haven't replied.
Video. And I said HDMI, guys. I'm sorry, I was misspeaking. It was HDR.
It was very funny, Flatzoid, and I think it confirmed that you don't know anything about HDR.
Sometimes people do misspeak, but anyway, it was stacked image. He does say, I must just find the post on Twitter where he said it. That's how he got all of it in focus the way he did.
And that's totally wrong. HDR have nothing to do with the focus. Yes, you can stack to get control over the focus, but that is when you're doing macro photos and so on closer distances. On those distances, if you look at the Blackpool Tower and the mountains behind, both will be sharp. Oh dear.
Was that particular image a stacked image?
That one, yeah.
To me, it don't look like HDR. It can be, but what difference does it make? None of you two fools understand why you use HDR.
Oh, I didn't know that. My understanding was he got out of his car, set his tripod up in the car park, like where you showed it, pointed it, clicked it, and then got back in his car and disappeared.
But you see, that's the funny thing, that the stories don't corroborate. Sometimes he says he didn't use a tripod. Sometimes he said he did use a tripod.
So, if he used a tripod, what does that prove? Is it image manipulation to use a tripod, or do Flatzoid believe that you need a tripod to do HDR? Later on in this video I will show images where I've used HDR and handheld the camera.
You know, the stories are different everywhere.
I know, but either way, we were accused of being dishonest, because regardless of whether it was or it wasn't, I thought that the image that we saw, the one that they cropped the left-hand page side off.
This is the complete image, and it makes no difference if you crop it down, because it's the Blackpool Towers and the mountain tops that is the flat earth killer in this image. The nonsense about the horizon is a desperate attempt from Sleeping Warrior to discredit this globe proof.
Yeah.
They ignore the fact that they cropped the left-hand side off that shows where the horizon is.
Exactly.
And they insist on saying that we were being dishonest in some way.
Yes, and you're still dishonest.
And the simple fact is, I don't know whether that one was or wasn't. I believe that he got out of his car, took a picture and got back in. That was what I understood it to be. Whether it was stacked or not, I don't know. But when we were speaking about it last night or the other day, view on it was we were talking about stacking in its general sense, not specific to that image. Might be wrong. I may have misunderstood. In any event, he said we were being dishonest, and I think it's worth mentioning that. Well, we weren't actually being dishonest at all. We were simply talking about stacking, as far as I understood it.
Exactly.
And it's quite easy to see if they was honest this time. Let's have a look at my video from some days ago about this.
But the thing is also, this picture is not just a single picture, it's layering.
I was just going to say, it almost looks Photoshop.
It is. So it's a whole bunch of different photos composite on top of each other to give this kind of photo. It's almost like you're doing an HDMI kind of photo, where you're taking hundreds of photos and you lay them on one another. So you get a crisp image. That's what he did.
So, in that part, Flatzoid revealed himself. He is lying. He claimed that the HDR image was the reason to what you did see in the Blackpool image. And it gets worse. Let's listen to another part of that live stream.
Yeah, they're tiny, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He's taking his focal length, his camera lens, and he's changing his depth of field on every section. So he's focusing here on one photo, focusing there on a photo, focusing there on a photo, focusing there on a photo, you understand? And he's layering them on top of each other. And that's how he's getting this image.
And this part is focus stacking, not HDR, but it's no focus stacking in this image, as I explained earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, just because we're trying to figure out what the guy, and nobody even knows all the information about Kevin Jackson or what he did and stuff. He wasn't really giving all the information. You have to kind of fish information out of him, you understand? And get it from different sources as well. So
Kevin Jackson didn't present this as a flat earth killer because he's a normal man that knows that he lives on a globe. He did take an image that he was very pleased with, so he published it. And Flatzoid did find his web page because he looked at it in this live stream. So hard to find information about it. That's pure bullshit.
yeah, and I can guarantee you, if he can go and try and do this exact same to replicate, he's not going to get the same thing.
Well, no, because it's always different on every day, isn't it? Like weather conditions vary.
Yeah, I mean,
and
you've
of
been
course-
to Blackpool how many times? You've seen how different it is. I mean, even Bev, he went there live so many times, and he just couldn't get it clear. It's so rare that you get a really clear day.
Bev managed to take images that confirmed this image.
That guy, that was his name, Arctic Reflections.
Yeah.
I shared this video because the brilliant thing about these anti-flat earthers is that rather than address the science point and how we've misunderstood science or how whatever, they always apply the ridicule, the scorn, and the insult nonsense instead to ridicule. And that's why they dress us up in like
Always, yeah.
Yeah, and to share their imagery, right? There's no point talking about anything else other than how do you have gas pressure without a container, because they can't get past that point.
I can't.
Now, I shared it on a community post, and I got him to respond, and I asked him the question, how do you have gas pressure without a container? And he won't answer it. He'll do everything else about it, and then somebody comes into White Night about him. And it's worth going through that community post to show
just like
that.
This is the community post Sleeping Warriors talks about, and he linked my video, but instead answer on the debunk I made, he starts to talk about gas pressure without a container. And here you see my reply on that part. Why should I explain to you something that you have heard 1,000 times and choose to not believe? There are many great debunks on that one. One, for instance, is the one that Dave McKeegan posted yesterday. I often choose my debunk subjects from the areas that I master, for instance navigation, photography, filmmaking, and so on. I leave the other parts to people that are more skilled in those areas. Let's move on to HDR images, high dynamic range. All images I will use in this part, it's taken by me, so I know if it's a high HDR, how it's taken, and so on. The image you see on the screen now is taken by me in Lofoten in the Arctic parts of Norway, and it contains of 3 exposures. If you compare the human eye with the camera is always more limited when it comes to high dynamic range. If you take a photo, for instance that one you see on the screen, when it's quite dark and so on, it's hard for the camera to expose the brighter parts and the darker parts at the same time. The parts that are outside from the dynamic range that the camera is capable of will be blown out completely white or goes to totally black. So that's why we photographers often use this type of techniques when it's quite hard lights to capture. But it don't change the image in and other ways than that. You don't see more, you don't see further, you don't get sharper images in the foreground and the background and so on. So this wouldn't have any effect on the Blackpool image if he used this technique. Let's see how you do a HDR image. I will in this example use 3 exposures exactly as in this image. I'm in the same location as in the picture before, but on the other side of the house. And here you see the 3 images I took. I didn't use a tripod when I took these images, and then this is how it looked after I processed these 3 images. As you all can see, this didn't change the appearance of the mountains or the house, or that the mountains look closer or bigger or anything. It changed the light, the appearance, and it's more close to what I did see at this location when I took this image. This is another example when I use this kind of techniques. This image on this restaurant that I took, I wanted to get the view out from the window, but if you're inside the house when it's sun outside, it's impossible to get this image with one exposure. If you get the correct exposure inside, you will not see anything at all outside. It will be completely white. So in this case, first I have 3 images in the same way as the image before, and to get more light in the darkest part around the window, I took a 4th image when I used a flash. And this image I used the same technique as on the one before. I also took 3 images, and the same with this image. And this one is also HDR image. And here is one more that contains of 3 images. It's quite clear that Flatzoid and Sleeping Warrior don't understand anything about this, but hopefully some of you did understand a bit better what high dynamic range images is and how they are made. I will make more videos about this later on.
Destroy.
Yesterday I received 2 donations on PayPal, so today I have managed to order or pay for 2 kamikaze drones. As I mentioned before, donations on PayPal will be used for kamikaze drones. The rest of the incomes from the channel goes to ordinary drones. Thank you very much for your help. This was all for this video. As we already knew, Flatzoid and Sleeping Warrior are fools, and I think they are dishonest. If you liked the video, please become a member, subscribe, or just come back next time I'm showing a video. Have a nice day, see you soon again, bye.